Deku steps in front of the last bullet that had been shot by Aizawa. Of course, it barely even breezes his skin, but it goes deep inside. It cradles into his hand, breaking the ligaments that had connected his right hand. God damn it, he says. All that Toga has to say, well, you missed. As she turns around and sees Aizawa. Aizawa keeps on firing, and Deku continues to stop every single bullet that comes after him with just his hand. He says, Aizawa, stop! As Toga continues on laughing. As long as I have a superpowered boyfriend by my side who's obsessed with me, nobody will even dare to touch me. He says, Aizawa, we have a way to deal with this. She can be detained. He says, not with that attitude. She will destroy everything in her way. She's a villain, don't you understand, son? I taught you everything you know. How could you go against me? He's right. You should go with him. Come on. I dare you, Deku. Toga! God damn it! Oh, and Aizawa. You've sort of disgruntled me. I'll give you a reward. I'll give you a look to your wife, to your friend. Miss Joke, was it? You. Toga, you wouldn't. Oh, yes. You see, Miss Joke, was it? She wasn't killed by the earthquake that you caused, or by the explosions. She was covered and thrown into the underground, where all the rest of the villains were. She was spread among the populace as to watch the underground become corrupted and plagued by all villains. She struggled to keep order above the law, above herself. However, she was losing herself quick, trying to get to the upper ground just to see Aizawa again. How beautifully romantic, wouldn't you say, Deku? You wouldn't. However, she was cut short. Literally. I cut her head off before she could get up to the overground just to see her smiling face. It was a shame it took her almost 2 years to come back, however. I would say that that at that walking speed, well, she wouldn't have been much of a girlfriend anyways, wouldn't it have been? Aizawa. Aizawa, don't do it. You bitch! As he immediately jumps straight at her, using the gun to try to pound in her head as hard as he can, as she turns into Mrs. Joke, laughing as hard as she can, just to etch it into his mind, as Deku continuously jumps in front of Aizawa, blocking every single punch until Deku's face starts bleeding from the inside out. First, Aizawa almost dismantles Deku's arms, and then wraps a bandage around Deku, stopping him from moving at all, so that Toga and him could battle. However, Deku rips past the bandages, forcing them in all different directions, and punches Aizawa's leg out of the way and stops Toga's knife in the middle of the air. He says, "You two are my everything. If either one of you gets hurt, I'll never forgive myself. I know your anger, okay? And I know why you're doing this, Toga. You want to die, don't you?" How could you tell, Deku? Well, all I really wish is to continue doing villainy, but clearly he'll just hunt me down anyways. He says, Deku, she must die. She's taken everything from me. I know how you feel, Aizawa. Do you? Yes. It felt like losing her every day when I felt her be banished by society. Everyone pounding on insults upon insults to my face. They couldn't say it to her because they would feel too bad, but they told it to me. even though they knew I was with her. That just told me even more about it. It amplified its effect and reduced me down to my knees. And after that, I was even pounded even more by hers. Since I was connected with her, her mind was mine own. It doubled, no, tripled the effect of every single insult hurled her way. Do you think I don't understand pain? I know you've taught me everything, but you have to calm down. We just imprison her. Then I murder her. I don't care what it takes. Put her in prison first. Give her to me afterwards. I don't care. As Aizawa looks away and looks off into the distance, saying that he failed, supposedly to misjoke. As Deku turns around, Toga immediately has a knife to his face, posing as all for one, trying to crush it even more into his soul about how he's about all the bad things he's done. However, he stops her hand in the middle of the air and then puts his hand straight to her throat and pushes her up against the wall, dismantling her. He says, I know what I've done. I know the people that I've hurt. But you can't do this. I love you, but this is too much. Of course you love me. You always will, no matter what I do. Then you know I am doing this for your own good. As he ties her with the quirk stopping tape around her, her wrists before she even notices, he lets her down from the ground as then, everything, he comes back to the main room as everything has settled down. All the villains have mostly been defeated. However, Momo was stabbed by one of the, one of the villains. One in a million guy felt super bad about it and not being able to defend her. However, Deku doesn't even care for her right now. He has to lock up Toga as he holds her in his arms with the tied around her hands and her mouth now from a recommendation from Aizawa. After all, she would try to force him to kill her, as he knows that she's trying to do that for herself, not for him. Aizawa just locks her up in one of their most secure places, right next to the world generator. She says, "Do you really want to? You know we were planning on blowing this up." Aizawa says, "I know. Where do you think Miss Miracle was, defeating all of the villains that were after it? You just did all this to get Deku, didn't you? You weren't even after it. The villains made you do this." "No, not all of it was their idea. I wanted Deku. As I thought. You thought." As Deku says, "Enough insults. We have to go now." Toga puts her face against the wall, saying, "You won't last without me, Deku. You need me." He says, "Not anymore." As he closes the door, he walks off. As then he starts to get contacted by the aliens who had given him... By the aliens? What the fuck was that? What was that voice? Okay, whatever. By the aliens who have contacted on his wrist, telling him that, he... since he defeated Overhaul, that's pretty good. And that was his next target anyways. So then, his next target will be Toga. He says, "No. We've already locked her up. She doesn't even matter anymore." They're like, "Oh, we know." No. You don't understand. We're not looking for you to lock her up or anything like that. We're looking for you to kill her." "What? Kill Never." They say, "But you've already locked her up. You've already defeated her. Isn't this your hero's duty?" Even the greatest heroes can never bring themselves to kill the ones that they love, even if it was for justice. I could never. Fine. Since you did the jobs without any single, sort of in request, that's fine. Plus, you're our special guest. Why wouldn't we give you a little bit of leeway? That's fine. We were gonna hold off this one just for you anyways. Why were you holding it off? Was it worse than Toga? They're like, maybe a little bit. At least in you humans' eyes. What is it? Whatever it is, I'll do it. Kill the heroes. All of the heroes. What? As he's in an elevator with Mirako and one in a million guy, who was telling him all about the whole problem, what the damage report with all the stuff happening. He realized Mirako and one in a million guy realize his sort of change in behavior as he's talking with the guys in his mind. Mirako taps him on the shoulder and says, what exactly is happening? He says, I'm contacting the aliens. Give me just 5 more seconds. The aliens are like, if you don't do it, we'll kill Toga. He grabs onto Mirako's hand and says, everything will be fine, all right? The door opens and immediately Nightwing walks straight in as Deku puts his hand on Nightwing's shoulder, saying, they're here. You were right. I shouldn't have withheld this information from you. We're going to have to fight them. Nightwing's like, shit, they're already here? He says, no, maybe 20 minutes until they get here. Oh, fuck. I know that you've been making a special task force this whole time to try to fight these guys, but I've seen their special power. As then it shifts over to almost like 5 minutes later, where they're in a super deep part of the UA, with all of the heroes surrounded with Deku in the middle. Nightwing is telling them all about the sort of these Watchers. They pretend like they can see everything, however they can't. Their eyeballs are simply cosmetic. They're a very weak race, however they're ingenious. Their biggest thing is their brains and also their sight. And that they have basically thought themselves as gods, dictating whatever happens around the universe. They go from planet to planet, trying different things, using little experiments on them, because they see themselves as sort of an Aryan race of perfect beings that are gods among, mortals. Just because they can live forever doesn't mean that they're gods. They just live long. That's about it. He says that they had crashed down here with UFOs just a few years ago, about 5. And since then he's been trying to find out exactly where they had came from. There's the gigantic ship, which has 2 gigantic world busters on his arms. Each one of these balls would take almost every single hero on the planet just to destroy. And that's not even talking about the battle cruiser, the sort of battle mech shaped in their image, a gigantic eye with tentacles that can sprout out just like nanomachines holding itself up. It can float in the middle of the air and fire off this gun 2 times exactly. 2 times exactly. That's all they've ever needed to eliminate a whole galaxy. Kirishima raises his hand saying, and he says, how the hell are we supposed to fight that type of manpower? No one in this world can deflect something like that. It's good that you asked that question. Now on to my second speech. And immediately Deku says, they're here. And then Night Eye's like, what? Already? Everybody's here to stations. They're like, stations? You never gave us stations. He's like, God damn it, just fucking go. And they start, they go into the gigantic elevator, which shoots them up at the speed of light that they had made, especially for something like this, where the world was in danger and all of the heroes needed to get to their respective countries. However, all they needed to do was just get to the top of the tower, which then once they got to the top of there, the gigantic eye of all of creation was there to watch over them. As, they contact Deku saying, kill them or die. All of you. Are you sure you want to be doing this? He says, they're my friends. They're like, we made you. We remade you in our image. You owe us. He says, I don't owe you shit. I'm not one to not repay my debts, but to kill my own friends is to scar my own friend, is to scar myself, is to destroy what I built up over all of these 5 days. They're like, you've barely even known them 5 days. You said it yourself. He says, I know, but our friendships had lasted a lifetime. In these last days, I've reconnected with almost more than I think I've ever connected with anyone in almost 5 years. I am now not what I used to be. I am now the god of heroes. Oh, this sentimental sentiment. We don't care. We are the Watchers. We have true omnipotence. Don't you understand, child? You are but a speck, and you shall be erased like one. Omni-cannon! As the gigantic cannon starts to, charge up, the rest of this world starts to crumble as the sheer gravity that the eye brings around with it starts to crumble cities around them. They start evacuating as they had started evacuating almost 5 minutes ago by Night Eye's orders and into bunkers underground, anti-villain bunkers. However, those are even starting to get hurt. But not yet. As the cannon charges up its first shot, Night Eye says that we all need to hit it at once with every single quirk that we have. Deku jumps up and hits it first. Then, all for One jumps up and uses the last spark that he has. And even Mirako and even 1 in a million guy jumps up and kicks it as hard as he can. He says, you think I haven't been training? Just thinking about it linearly with just my arms wouldn't work. So I needed to use my legs. And he uses almost as much as he has left. And, all the rest of the heroes dish in their quirks as well, reflecting the gigantic, basically galaxy destroyer by this point. And it starts to slowly float backwards straight at the eye. And it just crumbles half of the eye, destroying the half of it. However, nanobites start to, cover up because the beholders can't breathe air. It's foreign to them. So they start to connect. They start to reconnect almost all of the export stuff, and almost half their crew was destroyed. A gigantic tentacle now sprouts out of that end and then lands onto the ground, creating a gigantic structure that connects to it, holding it up in the air so that it doesn't tip over. All the rest of the workers and the aliens went to the leg, starting to work on trying to create some ports and stuff like that. As to purge this planet, of course. That is their one true goal. Deku now, basically all out of energy, and used the last bit of his punch to do it. He's now physically and mentally tired. His hand is just destroyed from that punch. Not even to speak about the other heroes who are completely drained. However, some of them that used quirks that were only long range sort of things were unharmed relatively and can go for another round. However, they will definitely not be even a percentage to stop the second shot that's readying up right now. Damn it, Deku. We were so close. Once this next shot is loaded, you better hope that you're holding on to your loved ones, so your last times will be spent with somebody that you love, because I wouldn't want anything more, because we like you, Deku. We liked you. You were the true gray that we wanted to create. You were everything that we wanted. What happened, Deku? I became the symbol of peace. The true symbol of peace. Bullshit! Both sides are just killing each other for no reason. Both sides. That's it. As he asks Night Eye to give him the key to all the rest of the heroes, as everybody starts repenting for a lot of stuff like about their lives. Deku says, "Give me the key to the villains," and Night Eye's like, "Why would you even want that?" He says, "This is their planet too. All right, maybe just maybe they'll help." As Deku immediately uses the super elevator to go straight down to the lowest levels, right next to the world generator, and unlocks all the rest of the heroes, and then the final one, Toga's. As he opens up Toga's, all the rest of the villains look to him with rage, as they know him very well as the one that put them underground. However, Toga raises up her hand, stopping everybody, as she says, "You release me, Deku, after you crushed my heart. You crushed mine first. I know. But that's just our part of the game, isn't it? There is no game here, Toga. He's going to destroy this world." She says, "Fine. I whipped this all up for you and you let me go? Come on. I know you still have a soft spot in there." "We're dead otherwise, so I might as well." "Good. Thank you, Boo." As she kisses him on the cheek, he says, "God damn it. All of you go with her too." As then everybody goes up to the upper levels, Deku falls on his knees, trying to regain all of his strength. A lot of the villains stay around, wanting to hurt him. However, Toga stops them, saying that, he's an old man. He's beaten down. We need to get going anyways and stop the planet from being destroyed. They're like, "Isn't that something that heroes do?" She's like, "Yep, but unfortunately we're gonna die too if that happens. So, do you want to live or die?" They're like, "I guess she's got a point." As they all charge up to the upper stairs, Deku holds on to the bottom of the elevator. As then they all land up there, and then Deku whips himself up, barely landing on his feet, is crumbled down to the ground. He can at least die defeating one of the biggest villains that they've ever met. This was all his fault anyways. He shouldn't have listened to them. Aizawa was a symbol. He now realizes what they were truly after. Aizawa was a symbol of evil. He was a symbol to all of them. Stain. And if he was to kill Stain, then all of that would erupt the underground, erupting a huge war between the villains and heroes. That would probably take out millions of heroes and villains on both sides. Maybe two sides would destroy each other. That was their true purpose this whole time. And the ninjas, they're looking for the same exact thing, to destroy this world and its two sides to create true perfection, at least in their view. I'll tell you, it's goddamn wrong. As all of the villains are now there, the heroes are all defeated around, and they're like, "It's a treasure trove around here." As then Mineta is still awake, since he has no power that would allow him to stop it. He defends the women that are all tired from the thing, and he's like, "Don't you dare put a hand on them." Everybody's like, "Okay, Jesus, fuck." Toga's like, "Yeah, no, it'd be bad if you just started raping them right now. Could you please?" And Mineta's like, They were thinking of that? I wasn't thinking anywhere near that." She's like, "Oh, you're so composed." As Mineta's like, "When did she turn villain?" Trying to remember back to that point. However, Mineta shuts up as then he sees the cannon start to get readied up again. As they finally loaded in their second bull, the second gigantic, it's basically they're shooting a moon at you, all right? Imagine a moon being shot at somebody, all right? That's basically what this is. They've had thousands of species huddle under it, moving it into space, into position that they can fire it out of the main eye. However, the main eye was almost halfway destroyed, so it took them a while to get all the people to get back onto it. However, then they ready up the gigantic shock put, and then it just and fires out the moon as fast as it can. As they say, "This is your end, humans! Finally, we can just move on from this planet and forget about it." As then the moon slowly approaches towards the villains. As they're all like, "We can't stop that shit! How would we stop that?" Toga says, "We have to, or else we'll all die." They're like, "Fine." And then Overhaul walks out saying, "The woman's got a point, guys. We have to." She says, "Finally, you're here." As then, you know, every single villain starts to walk out and jump up into the middle of the air. Every single one using their strength quirks. Even some Nomus in the middle of the air. And all punch at the same time. And some, you know, long-range quirks also in there as well. Reversing it and shooting it right back up to the ship. As the ship, the primary, you know, ship ordainer kind of guy is like, "Job well done, people. Finally, we can just take up that leg." And holy shit! As they see the ball slowly approach towards them, many of the villains had sacrificed their lives, pushing it back towards the ship. Unfortunately, this wasn't any holistic act. This was just them, you know, dying on accident from the sheer force of it. It destroys almost the other half. All that's left is the pupil that was firing the gigantic ball out of. They're now rendered almost defenseless. They have to set down another leg, as the other leg just slowly encroaches down to the earth, as the rest of the aliens are now stuck inside of that one, trying to repair it. That side, they say, "All of your villains and heroes are dead now. Once we load our third shot, this world is destroyed forever." As then Deku's like, "They have a third shot?" As everybody's like, "What? They have a third shot? How can they even load it? That ship, it looks like somebody took 3 bites out of it. Well, just 2, but gigantic ones." Toga's like, "God damn it. I knew I shouldn't have listened to you, Deku. This always happens." Deku says, No. I will not accept this defeat." Toga, as he holds out his hand, "Will you come with me? We have to finish them off. Finally ending this war. It's been leading up to this whole time. Toga, will you take my hand?" "I do." As he says, "What? In marriage, right?" He says, "That doesn't even matter. The world's going to be destroyed." She says, I know, but it's just so nice to hear you say that." As she wipes away a tear behind so that Deku wouldn't see it. As she says, "I know what you mean. You want me to go up and kill them all, don't you?" Well, it sends curls down my spine. Yes, that's exactly what I'm asking you to do. What was this thing about marriage, by the way? It doesn't matter right now. You're right. Saving the world is much more important. Now, shall we go, Deku? All right. As everybody starts rooting them on, as they both jump, they start running as fast as they can towards the legs of the carrier. They start, Deku bashes down the door of his as she pretends to be one of the aliens, and the alien lets him, and then he realizes, wait, none of us have left, and then she immediately stabs him right in the eye, and then starts making her way up the tentacle as she takes her time killing every single one of them. Deku also just starts knocking each one out. Why he takes so long is because he's knocking them out. And she's taking longer because she's just spending her time killing each one. She doesn't even care. So they progress their way all the way up, exploding each layer, and then going all the way up into the main hull room. And then, Deku enters into the main hull as like 3 of the Watchers are dead. And all that's left is like the other ones, the 4 ones. They're like, "You came alone, you idiot." You really came alone. What an idiot. As they're like, "Behold, the eye of the beholder's true power. Psychelic." As she's like, he didn't come alone. As they're like, "Radford?" As she immediately, as one of the guys' tentacles slices through all 4 of them, all 3 of them, I mean, as she was disguised as one of them. She falls down from it and then walks into the main room with Deku. As Deku, cold-faced as ever, she enters all smiling and giggling. She's like, "This is the end, isn't it, Deku? I can earn my freedom if I kill him." And then the great beholder's like, "No, wait. This isn't right. Both of you weren't supposed to be here. This wasn't foretold. We are supposed to see everything, even the future. How are you here? You were supposed to erupt into war." "Oh yeah, about that, about Stain? I lied." "What? You took a vow." "Yeah, also a lie." Truce? "Yeah." "Toga, aim for the eyes." "Oh, I can't wait." As he smashes into the main hall room and then takes up the gigantic eye and then shoves it in front of her as she starts stabbing as hard as she can, slicing it in half in almost 3 strokes, fully killing the whole spaceship and allowing them. And as the main guy was killed, the gigantic spaceship falls asleep. It's just floating there in the middle of the sky. This half-eaten orange. Deku and her fall from the sky, you know. I mean, and Deku and Toga both meet up in the hall room, the main lounge room that was for the beholders. She picks apart their bodies as she says, "Well, now what? What do you want to do with me, Deku?" "As I think this was a great example. Whatever you want." "Really? Whatever I want? Even murder?" Now, don't get ahead of yourself. If I see you do it, then yeah. Of course I'll detain you. I'll maybe even lock you up." "Ooh, fluffy cuffs. I love that. Not so kinky, but you know what? I'll get into it." He's like, "Not." Oh, god damn it. "You are the worst. But if I don't see it, then, well, I can have some leeway, Toga. The law always has some." "Oh, I see. So the god of heroes really was a villain." No. I'm still as pure as they come. I may just have a soft spot for the queen of villains." As they kiss, he holds her over the edge and says, "You should return to your people. We can't be together anymore." She says, What do you mean about that?" "We should always keep in contact." "You want to do it again?" As she says, "Well, with all the power in this place, well, how could it not happen?" As suddenly once they start kissing, basically runes start to form on their backs that lock them together once more. Not only can they feel each other's emotions, and when each other, do something significant, they can now see each other, feel each other, not just physically, but mentally. They can contact each other. They can talk to each other, And this forms a pact, because they've done something incredible for the system. It has an odd way of working, this world. She says, "Yeah, but I think we'd be fine." As he lets her down to see, her people, she says, "Back to the underground!" As everybody starts marching down, as all the heroes are like, "Are we really going to let them just leave?" He says, "No, any stragglers we take. But that's just going to be her fault then." And so the years progress after that. Deku makes the High Tower his watch place for all heroes. And the academy gets rebuilt. All the rest of the world starts repairing itself. And the underground festers like it did before. They stay underground. but now proud of their sort of stature in society. She starts to make it less of a killing sort of place, more of just petty crimes and for those who are out of jobs to hang out, like a pub. It basically became a super villain pub. Why did I just randomly stumbled onto that? Okay, it's not like, okay, I might get copyrighted for this, but so basically, super villain pub, all right? It's just a place for super villains to hang out. It's not like they're going to plan anything. It's just simply she controls all villains with that one place. And since she contacts with Deku, you know, once every single, you know, maybe every single week, you can find them basically closing their eyes, and you know that in their heads, well, they're doing the devil's dance. They can do that. They can mind fuck. They can mind fuck. So basically, yeah. So long distance sex call, basically, and you know you can find them almost every single night. But during the day, sometimes you can see him, you know, start to drift off as she's trying hard and desperately to connect with him. So basically, yeah, they became the queen of the underground and the god of heroes are married, basically. However, the whole coronation kind of thing didn't really happen since both sides would just start killing each other immediately. So basically, they had it in secret in the middle of the earth. And I will have to thank you guys so much for sticking around with this. I'm really proud of this. And I won't go all sobbish again. I'm just happy for all those that stuck around to this point. Thank you to those who have watched every single episode and have seen everything and enjoyed it just as much as I did. Thank you for sticking around. And I will be seeing you guys, hopefully, somewhere, sometime. Goodbye.